to Healthy Christian Living with Ruth and Kayce. Maybe you've been here for a while watching our videos. Maybe you're new, so welcome either way. But today we just really thought it would be interesting for us to share our story of how we lost the weight, how I lost, 85 pounds and then 65 pounds again after another pregnancy, and how you lost.
I lost 20 pounds. So you might think, 85 pounds, that's way too overwhelming. But I lost 20 pounds. So it doesn't matter if you have 5 pounds to lose or 100 pounds to lose or more, we can help you.
Right, because in total that makes 150 for me. So it doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose. The thing that we wanted to share today though is like how we ended up here helping women lose weight. And we wanted to share kind of our mission and how and why we feel God has called us to this.
So if you are new, welcome. We're just going to ask before we get into this that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, give us a little bit of love, and we want to help you. It is our mission to help Christian women learn to treat their bodies like a temple, not a trash can. So
we often say, we need to, as Christian women, stop living defeated by the scale, because that is holding us back from having the confidence to go out and live the purpose that God has for us. And we got to stop that because, we've been called, we've been given gifts, we've been given special skills and talents and abilities that God has given each one of us uniquely so that we can go out and serve other people, not so that we can stay hidden in the corner because we're defeated by the scale.
Absolutely. So if you don't know, we are a mother-daughter team.
Can you tell?
So today we want to tell you how it all began. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just say that I've always been into health and fitness. Well, not quite always. But after I had my first child, I gained a lot of weight. And the weight did not come off easily. I was determined. I'm the type of person that is very motivated. I like to be, make everything a game. And I like to win. I'm a little bit, what do you call that?
Competitive.
A little bit competitive. But I had to work really hard at losing the weight. So I understand when women say, I just can't do it. Because it is hard. It was hard for me. But I did it. And I didn't just do it once. I did it 3 times because I had 3 children. And each time I gained more weight in my pregnancy. So I was discouraged. I was discouraged with the weight that I knew was going to come on in the next pregnancy. I was discouraged at how sick I felt during pregnancy, but I worked hard and I persevered. I was persistent. I was in the game to win, and I won. That made me realize that I was really into health and fitness. So what I did, my husband and I, at a point in our life, I had the opportunity to invest and open up my own gym for women. And I was super excited for it. I loved it. In fact, I'm going to say that was the best job of my life. Except now I'm doing this, and this is the better job for my life. But I loved helping women shed the pounds because I knew they could do it. I knew they had the power within themselves, believers, to have the power within themselves to do it. We can do it. It is possible. And I had to learn to claim the promises. We reap what we sow, whether it's good or bad. So in this time where I had the gym, I was teaching a lot and facilitating a lot of diet classes.
Now, we're saying diet, like not so good.
Yeah, not so good. And I knew while I was doing that the certain diet that I was facilitating was allowing people to eat processed junk food, which is not good for us. And so I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but my husband got transferred. I had to sell my gym. I was really sad to sell it, but God gave my daughter and I this opportunity to actually do a business online. So we felt like we were called by God to help Christian women, to help women have more faith in themselves, more belief in themselves that it was possible for them to shed the weight.
Also, during the time that Ruth had her gym, and I was a teenager at that point, while she had that gym, she took lots and lots of courses on health and fitness, on kinesiology, on nutrition, on all of the topics that matter, and, really became a personal trainer.
That's right.
And so she had all of this personal experience from having done it herself. And then she went and got the, educational theoretical experience as well. And so I grew up in a home where health and fitness was prioritized, where it was important. And so I grew up knowing a lot about nutrition, a lot about what it meant to live healthy and to, move my body. I understood all of those things, and I had a pretty solid understanding of that growing up because that's how my home was growing up. And so, I was always concerned about dieting as well, like so many people from, the time I think I can remember, like at 12 or 13, counting calories because I didn't like how I looked. And I probably started earlier than that, right? Like you hear from so many people that it starts so young, and we're conditioned to not like how we look, to always feel like we need to be on a diet. And all of those fad diets are so bad for our headspace. Okay?
That's right. I just want to say, what a terrible thing that we want to portray on or put onto our children, like I did. It's not the right thing. That's not what we want to do. We want to teach our children to love themselves. We want them to know who God made them to be, not to worry about a number on the scale.
But it's such a complex issue because we want to live at a healthy weight, but we can take it two steps far by being so concerned about the number on the scale. We can take it way too far in the vanity sense where all we care about is how we look. And it's not wrong to want to look good and feel good in your body, but we can take that too far. And then if we want to live at a healthy weight, we have to manage the food that we're eating, but we don't want that to become obsessive. Like, it's so incredibly complex. And all of the fad diet culture that exists has made it even more complex. And it's created so many strange thoughts in our heads about what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, what we should look like, what we shouldn't look like, why we should do it, why we shouldn't do it, that we're punishing ourselves rather than loving ourselves enough to fuel our bodies well. It's so mixed up.
The wires in your brain are so crossed.
And we were mixed up, and we had the wires crossed in our brains because we did all of fad diets. We counted calories. We did, we often
carbs.
say our worst one was the cabbage soup diet. And we have done the cabbage soup diet, let me tell you, too many times to count.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for a long time now. Thank the Lord, because it is not a fun one. But, we've done all of those horrible fad diets. And I'm going to say they worked for us to lose a few pounds in the short term. But then as soon as you go off that diet, because it's not a sustainable way to live, boom, the weight comes back plus a little bit more. And in fact, the statistics even show us that for every fad diet you try, you actually end up gaining 2 to 3 pounds.
So if you try 6 or 7 diets, you've gained 20 pounds just for trying a diet. Mm-hmm. Now, how silly is that?
Right.
So it's time we fire our diets.
Exactly. And so, Ruth had this background in health and fitness and, had done all the fad diets and was passionate about health and fitness, but knew there were some strange things going on with the fad diet culture. And so fast forward a few years, I had some fertility issues, really struggled with that, finally got pregnant, and I gained 85 pounds in my first pregnancy. Now that is a lot of weight to gain in 9 months. Okay.
It's a real depressing journey.
Yes. And especially I was pregnant at the same time as 2 of my good friends. One of them gained 7 pounds and it was gone by the time she came home from the hospital. And the other one, I think she gained 20 and that was also gone by the time she came home from the hospital. So here I am, 85 pounds heavier, and I was heavier leaving the hospital than I was going in to have the baby.
Complications during pregnancy.
Yes. And so 85 pounds might sound like an incredible amount of weight to gain during a pregnancy, and maybe you gained more because we're all different. And I didn't eat unhealthy while I was pregnant. That's just what my body did. Okay. I didn't overeat. I didn't eat a whole pile of junk. That's what my body did. So I struggled to lose the weight. And I had done every fad diet out there prior to getting pregnant. And I knew, as this new mom who's struggling with a difficult baby, not getting any sleep, that a fad diet was, I just couldn't do it. I knew that I did not have enough bandwidth in my life to go on a fad diet because I just couldn't. I knew I couldn't. And I knew I couldn't sustain the weight loss. I knew I wouldn't be able to stick to it. I just knew that wasn't going to work.
You knew that all the diets had failed you in the past.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to tell you right now, if you have failed at dieting, it's not your fault. Dieting has failed you.
Yeah, you haven't failed at dieting. And so I was at this desperately low point. I was so thankful for this beautiful new baby that I had, but I was so desperately low because my self-esteem and my self-confidence was just in the toilet because I was 85 pounds heavier and I didn't feel good about myself, and my knees were hurting and my feet were hurting and I couldn't pull my pants on past my calves because I had gained so much weight. And I just felt horrible about myself. And I knew that I didn't want to live that way. I knew that I wanted to lose the weight because I didn't want to live with no confidence. I am a confident person typically. I'm a bubbly person typically. And I didn't want to live my life hiding at home behind big baggy clothes because I felt bad about myself. So I called up my mom and we made a plan. And I said, I want to lose this weight, but we've got to figure out a new way for me to do this. That's not about restricting all of these food groups. That's not about saying I can never have a piece of bread again. That's not about saying I'm never going to eat chocolate again. I'm never going to eat at a restaurant again. And something that was going to be manageable for my busy life, something that was going to make me feel good about who I was because I was choosing to love myself enough to do this rather than going, oh, I have to go on another diet because I hate myself. Like, think about that. If that's why you're starting a diet because you're going, oh, I hate myself so much, well, how do you expect to get a positive result from that? You can't get a positive result from a negative starting position. And so we have to flip the script from the beginning.
That's
so
right.
If you're here to lose the weight, you have to flip the script from the beginning. And that starts with, I'm going to choose to love this body that God gave me, and I'm going to honor it today by making good choices about what I choose to consume as fuel for my body.
So let's stop right now. That is the first thing you have to do if you want to shed some weight. You have to flip the switch. Start to say something positive about yourself today. And so I want to give you hope right now. I want to give you hope that there is hope for you, that you will shed the weight. It is possible. The scripture says that we can do all things through Christ. And we know that's a verse. We all have memorized it, but do we really believe it? And I'm here to give you hope that Kayce did it. I did it. You can do it too. So flip the switch right now and let's start positive.
Exactly. If you don't know how to do that, you stop with the deprivation diets, right? You fire those diets. You say,
kick them out.
You say, I'm not going to try to get healthy by punishing myself and my body, by depriving myself and my body, and by, having this horrible idea and picture of yourself in your head. Instead, we need to go, okay, how do I treat this body with honor and respect? And how do we do that? Well, we do that by making good, healthy choices, not by saying, I'm never going to eat a slice of bread again, because that's not realistic for the way that we live.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to interject here and say the first thing you have to do is surrender the journey to God. That is the absolute first thing. When you flip the switch, is we are giving the whole journey to God. That includes every aspect of your weight loss journey.
And we know, like we've said already, that this is a very complex topic. And so for us to just say, well, you have to flip the script or flip the switch or however we're saying it, it's simple, but it's complicated. And we know that. And really, that's where our journey began that brought us here, making this YouTube video all these years later, because we recognized how much Christian women needed help with this. Because so many Christian women were so obsessed with food, we're so addicted to food, we're so addicted to the scale, we're so addicted to like fad diet culture, and we don't even know it. But it's making us it's taking away our joy. It's taking away our ability to go out and use the gifts that God's given us because the wires in our brains are so crossed. And so if you're sitting here watching and if you ask yourself, what is food to me? That might be a very difficult question for you to answer because for many women, food is everything. Food is joy, food is comfort, food is security, food is happiness, food is, you name it. It's food, right? And that's not a healthy place for food to have in your life. Those are the things that we're supposed to look to God for, not food.
That's right. And so once we surrender the journey to God, we start to work at uncrossing those wires that we have, started to believe. We've believed all the lies from the diet culture, and we need to uncross those wires one at a time. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's why we love to tell women that we need a community where we can uncross these wires together, where we can bond in community and help each other because together we're stronger. But the day that Kayce came to me and said, Mom, I need a plan that's going to work, that isn't starting from the deprivation, where I'm starting with surrendering it to God and loving myself. And we are blessed to say that God gave us a plan. He truly handed us a plan that we could, help other women with, so that we could teach other women to learn how to treat their body with good, nutritious food, so that would give them the energy that they need. And we always say we have to fuel our body well. But we call it the 10-day WeighDown Plan.
But I just also want to add there too that we put a lot of work into this plan. God gave it to us, but we put a lot of work into it. God gave us these brains that, we're able to create this plan, and we give all the credit and all the glory to God. But as we sat down to create this plan, we recognized ourselves how confusing it is out there, because there is so much information about what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, how much you should eat, what there's so much information. It's so confusing, and it changes every day of the week. One day eggs are the best thing you could ever eat, and you should eat 82 of them every day. And the next day you should never eat an egg again in your life. So many foods are like that, right? Things change, the fads change, the diets change. But the thing that we came to as we were creating this plan is that how do we bring things back to basics? How do we bring things back to balance? Because the fad diets are out of balance. Everything about them is out of balance, right? If you think about going on a diet where you say you're only going to eat low-fat foods, that's out of balance, because your body needs good, healthy fats, right? And when we're eating the low-fat foods, you want to know what's put into those low-fat foods to take the fat out? Sugar. So that's out of balance. If we say that we're going to go on a low-carb diet and all we're eating is bacon and protein, that's out of balance. So our whole goal was, how do we bring this into balance so that we can live a life of balance and moderation?
Because the Bible speaks about moderation, and that is balance.
Right. And so, we wanted to incorporate all of these biblical principles into losing weight, because we say the Bible is our blueprint for best living. So what does it say then, or what can we learn from it about how to live at a healthy weight and how to lose the weight in a way that's honoring to our bodies and our minds and our souls, rather than depriving and punishing them? And so as we worked at putting this plan together, we really recognized how there's so much information out there. It's so confusing. People don't even know what to do. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to even take the first step. And that's why we put this whole plan together, so that I could do it. And then what happened from there is, like Ruth already said, we felt like God had given us this plan. God had given us this mission and this vision to help Christian women reclaim their weight and their health. So we ended up doing a beta test with this plan. After I started losing weight, people started going like, what are you doing? How are you losing all this weight? And so we started sharing it kind of with the women in our close circle, the women in our church. And I think the first beta test we did had 10 women, right?
Yeah, we had 10 women at first, and all 10 of them lost weight. So we said to ourselves, okay, we need to have a bigger scale. We need to do this a little bit more, because we before we get out there and really spread it out to the world, we need to make sure it really works for all ages. Doesn't matter what culture or denomination or whatever it is.
It doesn't matter what age.
It doesn't matter if you've tried every diet out there. It doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose. We needed to make sure it worked.
Because that first 10 women, we had a huge range of all of those things. Okay, we had women as young as, I think, 25 all the way up to 65.
That's right.
In that first 10, and different socioeconomic categories, different races, different, you name it, right?
That's right.
They were all different.
And it worked.
It worked. And the other thing is that they gave us amazing feedback. They were like, this is amazing. This food tastes delicious. I feel awesome. I'm experiencing less bloating. All of a sudden I feel good.
Less digestive issues.
I'm not taking Tums at every meal all of a sudden after we have it set up as a 10-day plan, and we'll explain that in a minute.
Yeah, they're saying I have more energy. Even my skin looks better.
Yeah. And in that first trial run that we did with 10 women, I think 2 out of 10 lost more than 10 pounds in 10 days.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And we were like, are you kidding me? And this
because you didn't lose 10 pounds in 10 days.
No, I did not.
But 2 other people did.
Yeah.
In fact, I think one person lost 12 pounds.
Yeah. And so, we kind of ourselves were like, this is wild. And it's not another fad diet. This is about learning how to eat good, healthy foods to fuel our bodies.
We
This
got
is
back
about
to basics.
Yeah, this is about not counting points and calories and carbs and macros and all of the things. This is about learning how to eat good, nutritious food for our bodies.
That's right.
In the proper portions so that we can lose weight.
So then what we did is we got 100 women to do this plan. And here we were like, oh, I wonder how it's going to work. Oh, I wonder how it's going to be. But we're here to tell you that every single woman who followed the plan lost weight. The same thing happened.
And we got amazing feedback. And these women were like, I feel like I have freedom with food for the first time in my life. And we were like,
yes.
Wow, that's incredible feedback. We couldn't believe it ourselves, but we were feeling the same things.
But they were starting to uncross the wires from all the lies that the devil had put into their minds. And I'm going to say the devil put those lies in our minds because he wants to keep us stuck. He wants to keep you stuck. He wants to keep you feeling embarrassed about how you are. He wants to keep you from doing the work that God has planned for you to do because you have your own individual gifts. The devil doesn't want us to use those gifts. He wants us to stay stuck.
Exactly.
But all these women who followed the plan lost weight. And we said to ourselves, okay, we need to get this out.
Yeah.
Because this 10-day plan works. Now, here's why we do 10 days. We do 10 days because it's long enough to make us, get rid of the sugar addiction. It's long enough to get us a result. And you get many results, like we call them scale victories and non-scale victories. But you get a result and you begin to believe in yourself. It's just an amazing opportunity for you to learn how to fuel your body well, treat your body like a temple, and start to feel good in yourself. Start to gain back some confidence. And then realize that, this is a lifestyle. It's not a diet.
Because there's a fine line there with that distinction, right? Like our 10-day plan, you're going to have to make some changes to what you're eating, right? We talk about we don't eliminate food groups, but we don't eat a whole pile of processed junk either because that's not good for our bodies, okay?
Right.
And so there are some changes that you have to make. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It might mean that it's simplified, but it's not easy. And, really the reason as we did those first 2 trial tests with it, that we felt like and believed that we had something that we needed to take further and put out there. And the reason that we believe we got such amazing results, or that all these women got such amazing results, and we did too, is because the foundation of this whole plan is surrendering the journey to God. It's about putting God first in this area of our life, not the food.
It's about inviting God to the table, which means we stop hiding what we're eating. Because so many women, myself included, probably yourself included, is like we sneak and we think no one sees what we're eating. And a little bite here and another bite there, or a chocolate chip here, or a cookie there, or a bag of chips here. We want to do it in secret because we don't want anyone to know we're eating all this junk. But God sees it. He knows why we're stuck. And he wants to help us get unstuck. And so we surrender the whole entire journey to God.
Exactly. And so, we really believe that that is the foundation for why it works so well.
Yeah.
And, as you were explaining why we do 10 days, it's because it's short enough that we can believe in ourselves enough to go like, yeah, I can do that for 10 days.
That's right.
But it's long enough that you are going to get some incredible results. Like you might lose more than 10 pounds in 10 days, which is nuts. It's amazing. You will experience other non-scale victories. Like you'll just feel better. Your skin will clear up. Your clothes will start fitting better. You are going to feel bloated.
Yeah, your digestive system is going to work better. And you're just going to realize that you can do it.
Yeah.
And 10 days is long enough because it has to take you through a weekend or whatever your weekend is. But it takes you through some difficult temptations, because we all have temptations bombarding us weekly, daily for some of us. And it means going through the whole journey. And we often say it's progress over perfection. We're not striving to be perfect, but we're striving to invite God into every decision we make.
Yeah.
And so it's really, really important just to remember that the whole first step is to surrender it to God.
And so that's kind of the story, right? It started with Ruth having this passion for health and fitness and knowing a lot about it, but still being part of the fad diet culture, and me too. And then recognizing that, you know, God is calling us to help change this, to help make this shift, to help swing that out of balance pendulum back to the basics, back to moderation, back to portion control, back to honoring our bodies and doing our very best job to steward the bodies well that He gave us. And, you know, it's been a grind for us trying to get this message out. And that's why we're here on YouTube. And, you know, would we love for you to buy our plan and come join us in our membership? Absolutely. But our goal beyond that is that this channel and this information will give you the tools, whether you purchase it or not, to go change your life, to reclaim your health, to reclaim your weight. And so, you know, we're going to put the link down below. We'd love for you to purchase the plan. We keep the price point as low as we can. We have a lot of back-end expenses.
And our plan offers you multiple videos. Like there's about 40 videos that you can go and watch. And we simplify through these instructional videos how our plan works and why it works and how to do it step by step so it's not overwhelming. Because we know, we've done it ourselves. When you try a new plan, it seems like overwhelming. And where do you start? But we have made it such a step-by-step easy plan that anyone can do it. And we're here to tell you, because of our beta test, we know that it will work for you too. You might lose 10 pounds in 10 days, but
you might lose 1.
Yeah.
And either is good, because that's the other big thing, is that we need to take the power back from the scale. It doesn't matter if you lose 1. It doesn't matter if you lose 0.5 of a pound. It's progress in the right direction. And we have to stop focusing on the outcome of the scale and start focusing on, you know, choosing to treat our bodies well, because the results will come over time if we continue to be consistent.
The Bible tells us to treat our body like a temple. And we often like to say, treat your body like a temple, not a trash can. But more than that, God is asking us to honor our bodies. We want to do that. And we want you to be able to do that so that you have the right energy, so that you can live out the purpose that God has for you. And we know it's possible. We know our plan works. We want to offer it to you right now. And it's such an easy link. It's 10dayweighdown.com. Just think about treating your body like a temple, because that is what God is asking of us. And as believers, we don't want to stay defeated. We are overcomers. You are a conqueror, more than a conqueror. And we have the power within us to change because we have the Holy Spirit. So
I just want to say, you might be sitting here listening and going like, yeah, it sounds great, but it's, you know, why would it work for me? Nothing else has worked for me. And, you know, it's easy for them to say it works because look at them, they've already lost the weight. But you know what? We're here to tell you it wasn't easy for us to lose the weight. It's not easy to lose weight. It's never going to be easy to lose weight.
It's not a magic pill.
Exactly. It's a difficult journey to go on, and we know that. And we're not trying to say that it's this magic pill. But it's going to take work. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take, you know, being committed to the uncomfortable, because losing weight is uncomfortable.
But it is possible.
Yeah.
And we're here to give you hope, because it did work for us. And it has worked for thousands of women already who are using our plan, the 10-day WeighDown plan. And so we know that if you follow the plan and you surrender the journey to God, it will work for you as well. So why should you join today?
Because tomorrow never comes.
Exactly. And if you don't change today, what's going to make you change next week? What's going to make you change next month? Yes, right. But you don't want to be here 30 days from now wishing you had done it 30 days ago. So why join today? Because tomorrow never comes.
Exactly.
So we always like to end these videos, and we're thankful that you're here watching us. We know that it is possible for you to treat your body well, but we always like to end by saying, treat your body like a temple, not a trash can.